But let's face it, who we were in our teenage years, we would have been
We would have burned everything to the ground.
1,000%. Like Bonnie and Clyde, who?
Yeah,
Chris and Chandler,
100%.
100%.
Speaking of, I am Chris, the not so better half of my beautiful wife,
I'm
Chandler.
Chandler. And this is Labor to Legacy.
Yep. So we're going to jump into it. We're going to cover everything from A to Z, from probably sex to business and church to marriage and
Did you just put
co-parenting.
sex and church in the same sentence?
Married people have sex, honey.
Yes, they do.
So we're going to cover everything. So just,
Put your bootstraps on and let's fucking roll.
yep, it's going to be a lot.
All right. So 3 years ago, we invested $25,000 of our own money into what would jumpstart what we're coining the co-founder marriage that you and I now have.
Yeah.
We went from being parents together, being husband and wife, to now being business owners and navigating our life with raising kids, having a strong marriage, and owning a successful business. I think there's a lot post buying the business that obviously we still practice day to day, and it's become exactly who we are. But I want to talk about everything leading up to buying that business and what set the foundation for how strong we would be after we bought it. So this is Labor to Legacy. This
Yep.
is the blue collar movement for the families that are raising their kids the old school way. We are trying to give back the appreciation to the men and women who have the calloused hands and who are out there every day on the grind, working their tail ends off to establish something for their families. Maybe it's just to put dinner on the table, or maybe it's more than that. For us, it's more than that. For us, it goes beyond just putting dinner on the table. We want to set an example for our kids for the rest of their lives. And that is how Labor to Legacy, that is the foundation of Labor to Legacy, but that's not what started it.
No.
So let's go back to the beginning. Because
Okay.
as much as I would love to tell the world that we were high school sweethearts and that we've, been together since the beginning and had this figured out from day one of this rock solid foundation of a marriage that could withstand kids and businesses and moving and all of the things in life, that's not the case. We had to go through a lot to get to where we are.
Yeah.
Rome was not built in a day, although I like to say that if I was building it, it would have been built in the day.
You are one for instant gratification.
I gotta have it.
So, yeah, I think we should definitely start. I think we would have been high school sweethearts
If we had met in high school, I would have been pregnant by age 17.
for sure.
And it would not. We would have been barefoot and pregnant in the trailer parks until we figured it out. Or maybe not.
Or maybe we would be further ahead in life and in business than we are now because we
But
got a late start. Kick it off.
to start, I guess, from the beginning, I am not a Texas girl.
Unfortunately.
I am from the East Coast. I'm from a very small town in Virginia. Shout out Roco, Harrisonburg. In fact, so small that on my prom night, it was held at the fairgrounds, and the marquee to the prom said TAHS prom, and then under it, it said like goat derby or demo derby and goat show. My dad loves to tell that story because he thinks that it just is like a very good snapshot of the town that I grew up in.
The podunk.
Right.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single mom, essentially. My parents divorced when I was 6 years old. Thank God for that. And my mom worked really, really freaking hard. She's an ultrasound tech. She, went to school. She got her degree, got her training in what she was doing. So I definitely saw from a very young age that path of going to school and working in healthcare. I knew pretty early on that I was not going to follow the healthcare path. That was not something that I ever had any interest in. But being young, I did not want for anything. Me and my siblings did not We always had what we needed. My mom worked so hard to make sure that like no beat was skipped. I mean, it takes a village, and she definitely had a village. There was my grandmother was instrumental in raising me. My grandfather, who tragically passed away when I was younger, was instrumental in raising me. My mom's friends were there. I don't have a single memory of my parents being together, but I have every core memory of those people surrounding me 24/7. Um, Played every sport that I wanted to. I mean, I'm an athlete. I'd like to still think that I'm an athlete, but my bones say
We
something
try.
different.
We wake up feeling
mama's
18.
mama's old. I think I popped and cracked 1,500 times when I got out of the bed this morning.
Getting out of bed these days does seem to be a chore.
um, in high school, I got sidetracked pretty quickly. I met a boy who was the resident bad boy, and I was the one, I guess, from a very young age, loved a project, and I was going to be the one that fixed him and changed him. And he was older than me, and I wanted to get out of school as quick as possible. I did really, really well in school. I was very smart, 4.0. I graduated in 3 years, but we were going to run away, get married. I thought I was living like the Nicholas Sparks movie. I mean, I thought I was. That's obviously not what happened, because this is not, like I said, my high school sweetheart sitting across from me. Um, so after I graduated, it was really the first time that I had been exposed to heartbreak and been exposed to a pivot in plans. I really had no direction career wise. I think at the time I wanted to be an FBI agent. I was on the path of, like, I think I was taking some like pre-criminology courses, and um, I remember I was sitting in a seminar with a prior FBI agent. She was one of my professors, and the whole thing was talking about how work-life balance was not a thing in that field of work, and that having the marriage and having children was probably not going to be, at the top of the list for someone that was going down that path. And that really turned me off from that. I may not have known what I wanted to do for a career, but I knew damn well that I wanted to be a wife and I wanted to be a mom one day.
Right.
Um, so I took some time, call it like a gap year if you want. I took some courses at a community college, and then went to Bridgewater College, which is a small 4-year school in my hometown, and decided I was going to be an English major, which is super random, but my high school English teacher made a massive impression on me, and so that's just kind of, in my mind at that point in time, my mom had moved to Texas because she met my stepdad and wanted me to come with her so badly and wanted me to see what else was in the world. But I didn't want to leave my friends. I was so comfortable, and I wasn't ready to experience discomfort to that level quite yet. So I stuck my heels in and was not going to leave. I mean, thank God I did. But at the time, my line of sight was so small, and there was no way that you were going to get me out of my hometown.
I think that that's an important part for younger people. I guess even older people that really haven't found their way yet too. Is there is a big world out there. There is no need to be comfortable in your hometown. I mean, I guess if you live in a hometown that has all the opportunities in the world, and you're from a big city, Dallas, LA, Houston, San Antonio, New York, something like that, maybe it's a little different. But if you're from a small town, there's really no reason to stay. I think it's very beneficial to get out of your comfort zone and just go see what's out there, because there's a whole other group of girls and guys that you could meet. There's a whole other group of like job classes and stuff that you can do. It really does hold you back, I think, unless there's something there that you want to stay with. You got to get out.
I think the greatest thing that anybody could ever do for themselves is leave their hometown. And it doesn't mean you have to move away and never come back. I always used to tell myself the roads that took me out could very easily bring me back home. Yeah. I love my hometown. It's beautiful. When we visit back there, it definitely, I appreciate it so much more now that I don't live there. But I think that the smartest thing anybody could ever do for themselves is to put themselves in an uncomfortable position by leaving their hometown and having to figure it out. It creates character that I can't even put into words.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like leaving your hometown, when you look back, you enjoy it more because it's a sample size. You're not there engulfed in it every day. I try to look at it like a vacation spot.
Well, now it
You're,
is.
you're probably not supposed to live where you want to be on vacation because eventually the news is going to wear off and it's not going to feel as special. So if you do get out and you find a way to make a life outside of your hometown, when you go back, like you said, you'll enjoy it quite
It's
a bit.
okay to have wings and it's okay to have roots, and I think that you can have both.
You for sure can.
And I definitely did.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up and the people around me could always tell that there was just something about me that was going to be different than the people around me. Maybe I hadn't figured out what the dream was yet, but I knew that I had dreams that were a lot bigger than what the four walls of my hometown were going to give me. And I had to give myself the opportunity to figure out what those were going to be.
Yeah, and I think that like that thought process is one of the probably first 5 or 10 conversations that me and you had when we met. I've just always felt like I was destined for something bigger. I just didn't know what it was. Right. I think that was kind of the first business connection me and you had, is we were just destined for something a little bit more, even though we didn't know what it was at the time.
We're not there yet, though.
No, and we're still doing it. Like, I mean, it's a good segue for me to kind of talk about my youth a little bit. I grew up the same way you did. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I was just like aimlessly doing whatever my mom and dad told me that I needed to do, or it really is like an echo chamber, as like social media today. You get put with your algorithms and you only see what it thinks you
Well, I mean, you essentially grew up in like a holler. Like the only people that you were ever exposed to, I mean, all of your family where you're from lives within walking distance to you.
Right.
Most of your family, it's not a bad mindset, but have the same very small town, Dallas is the closest big city to where you're from, and like to think that Dallas is like a big city to people where you're.
I mean, it is,
to us,
but
it's not. It's nothing.
We live there now.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's to drive through Dallas is like going to Walmart. Like it's.
I used to have panic attacks about driving on a road that had more than 2 or 3 lanes.
Right, and now you're driving, and the roads
now
you
I'm
drive
just
on have 12.
Yeah, so yeah, it's really all about perspective, and I think coming from a small town, that's why it's so important to get out, because you only hear what you're surrounded by. Mm-hmm. And like what I think the analogy is, if you like get a shark or a fish when it's born and you put it in a small tank, it'll only grow to the size of that tank.
Right.
So you have to get out in order to grow.
It's like
you
change plants have to change their housing, their pods, because they if they outgrow it, that's as far
100%.
as it'll stunt their growth.
Yeah. And anyway, continue about your story.
No, I mean, I think where I left off, I was studying English. Around that time is when school shootings became like a weekly thing,
like the Sandy Hook and all that.
Well, no, Sandy Hook happened when I was in high school, so this was
a little bit after.
It was just the world was starting to kind of shift, and things were getting a little more dangerous. And the older I got, maybe it was always like that, but the older I got, the more I understood the dangers of the world. And I have such an appreciation for teachers who put themselves in those situations every day, because I know myself well enough to know that my mental health would not have allowed me to sit in a classroom. I would have been terrified. So at the time, I started baking at home and fell in love with it and realized I was really good at it. And while I was in college and while I was working a full-time job, started an at-home bakery. And I loved it. Like, it was so much fun. It was the first time, other than having like playing sports, that I think that I felt what passion for something felt like. So I remember in my junior year, I called my mom up and said I wanted to go to culinary school and I wanted to drop out of college. And she was like, well, that's not fucking happening. You're finishing. You are going to start what you finished,
or finish
what you started. Yeah. So then I changed my major to business. So then in my mind, I was like, well, then I'll know how to run the business side of what I wanted, of the bakery. So graduated with my business degree, continued to bake, but realized that like it wasn't, now that I was out of college, that's not what was going to support me So I took a job at iHeartRadio and was working in sales at the time. That was, a really good job right out of school. It was very high paying, but I was wrapped up in a very tumultuous relationship at the time and felt like I needed a way to escape that. And that's what ultimately got me to Texas. Um, I quit my job and packed up and moved like a week later and ripped the band-aid off, came out here, and did not have a job and signed up to go meet with a temp agency, which the morning of the appointment, I was going to cancel it. I was like, I have a freaking degree. Like, I'm not going to go interview at a temp agency. I
Right.
felt so much better than that. But
Everything happens for a reason.
they set me up with a temporary administrative assistant position with the Texas Rangers baseball team. And I started that job and my eyes were just wide open. The things that I was exposed to, the knowledge that I got working under the incredible people that I got to work with, I realized fast that I was going to make that my career. I was not going to be a temp forever. I made a really big impression really quickly. I was promoted, probably 2 or 3 months after being there. And my career became my entire life. Like my entire identity was my job. I did not care about anything else. I wanted to work my way up. I loved it. I was at work at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning.
I remember when we met.
Like
I was getting up, going to the gym, and you were already at work or
but
working
like,
out at work.
Here I am, this small town girl, walking into a $1 billion stadium every day and sitting in rooms with people that were making billions and with, C-level or higher titles and like actually wanting to know what I had to say and listening to what I had to say. And it was
Gratifying.
it was so gratifying. And the people that I worked with, I love to this day. I mean,
Oh, we just had a party
we
for
literally
half
just had a
of them.
party with most of them, 2 weeks ago. And my previous boss, I'm sure we'll have him on here at some point,
Yep.
Jeff Miller, I idolize him to this day. If I need career advice now, I will call him and talk to him. Life advice, even. I mean, him and his wife have such a place in my heart, and I learned so much working under him. I mean, these are people that completely shaped who I was as a professional, and I would not be who I am today without them. But so I worked my way up really quickly. Wasn't really focused on anything else until I met you.
Sorry.
And then, we met online, and literally the swipe of a finger just completely changed everything about the trajectory in the best way possible, but changed everything about my life. And I swiped on you.
Yep. Well, you liked the picture.
I liked the picture. You reached out to me first.
Yeah, I think it's important to notice too that like all the things that's happened in your life that turned out better was from you taking a chance.
Absolutely.
You left your hometown. You took a chance. You got here. You wasn't sure. I'm sure you had your growing pains, and you got homesick, and then you applied for the Rangers. You didn't want to do the temp thing. You felt like you were a little bit better than that, but you took a chance. You didn't want to be a temp or an assistant, so you walked into the owner of the Texas Rangers office and demanded a raise and a title, and you got it.
For those that don't
And you
know,
took a chance.
in sports, that is not something that you do.
Right. You seen me, I seen you, you liked my picture, you took a chance. And every time you've taken a chance, it's turned out better. I feel like if you've sat in your comfort zone and just did what everybody around you was doing, you would never be better than the people around you. The only way to grow and to be better than everybody else is to take chances.
Well,
That's it.
that is essentially the entire summary of who we are.
Yeah.
And especially honestly more so me than you.
You
Because
are
I'm
the dreamer. Yeah,
and you're
I'm
the
more
realist.
analytical.
Mhm.
I take a lot of chances. I just like to think them out a little bit before I do because I don't like being wrong. I guess I have a complex, you would probably say. I literally do everything I can to not be wrong,
Mhm.
and I'll argue my way into anything, but Yeah, I like to be right. And especially now that I have you and we have the kids, when you're wrong, especially when you're making big life
Well,
decisions like
it's
this,
going to affect a lot more than you.
yeah. If I was single, I mean, fuck, why not? Just jump out and do something crazy. But the older you get in life, the more you have to sit back and take a look. And I think that's why me and you work so well together, is because you still are a dreamer and you're still willing to take chances. But I think you do it because you know that I will ground us.
1,000%. I would throw the things out there and want to jump as far as I can very quickly because I know that no matter what, like, you're going to be there to catch us if we fall.
Yeah.
And typically, once you and I put our minds to something, I mean, shit. My mother used to say that everything we touch turned to gold. There was a lot of times where stuff we would touch turned to rust. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ebbed and flowed. I
Yep.
mean, it's not been perfect 24/7.
And nothing is.
Not every single thing we've jumped into has always worked, but I
We
would rather jump than not.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you got to. So, I guess a little bit about me, my backstory. It's a lot simpler, I think,
Well, not really.
because it is, because of where I came from. It was a little bit smaller than where you came from. I grew up, both of my parents are still happily married for a really long time. They're going to get mad at me for not knowing, but
They
it's
just celebrated
40 something.
yeah.
Yeah. They've been, since they were, my dad graduated in 81. Mom graduated in 83, I believe. She got married at like 19, 20, and they're 60 and 63 now. So y'all do the math, I guess, but long ass time.
Sorry, Kim and Steve.
And I'm not going to bore everybody with their stories of ebbs and flows, because like every marriage, they had problems.
But you learned a lot.
I did.
A lot of what to do and a lot of
Yeah.
what not to do by watching your
Yeah,
parents.
they separated, I think, at a short period of time.
They're going to kill you for saying this.
Yeah, well, it's part of it.
It is.
It's truth.
Mhm.
So, and I think they learned a lot from the separation. I think that maybe they thought they got married too young, and they hadn't had a chance to, or at least my mom didn't have a chance to kind of get out and experience things. So, I was honestly too young to remember the separation, the bad parts. I just remember living separately. But there was a swimming pool where my mom moved in, so I didn't give a shit.
That's all you cared about.
Yeah,
at that
I was
age.
so
Kids
young.
are so simple and so
Yeah.
resilient.
We swam. That's all we did was swim. And then, I had my grandmother. She also played a very big role. She's our meemaw. Everybody has a meemaw, a mama, a nene, something.
Mm-hmm.
She was our meemaw. She was our get to and from school. She was a school teacher, so it made it easy. She was our summer daycare lady. She did everything. She took us to the movies, to the pool. We literally did everything with her. So she raised us in the summer because my parents worked so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Mom worked for CPS office, making like $5-6 an hour until she decided to go to nursing school to better herself. Dad was an iron worker earlier on until I got like 2, and then I think he realized he needed to come home and kind of be around a little bit more, so he took a job. U.S. Steel at the steel mill, blue collar, just typical small town. I'm sure people like in Buffalo and, Pittsburgh know all about that. But my whole life, that's all they did was work. 12-hour shift work for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of instilled in me that without hard work and doing a really good job, your name and kind of how people think about you is really all you got. And if you can start out with those being really good, then people will trust you a lot more, and it'll carry you a lot further. So my whole life, I've just kind of wanted to work. I wanted that to be my identity. Chris is a really hard worker. You can trust him. He'll show up on time. If he shakes your hand, looks you in the eye, and tells you something, you can guarantee that he's going to do it. And I've always just got excited about that. It's kind of what drove me. Even on the weekends, I'd help my dad, out in the hayfield. Been doing that since I was like 10. And then I got into school. I got a little bit more rebellious, but still working hard, playing sports, typical boy stuff in a small town, hunting, fishing, drinking, back roading, mudding on the four-wheelers, dirt bikes. Didn't have anything, never had to want for anything. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just know that I wanted to work hard. So I I mean, I had a bunch of jobs. I worked for the county building roads. I've worked for a reclamation mine company driving big equipment, dozers and stuff like that. And then my brother got a job. He was the first one out of me and him. Obviously, he's older. He went to school. I don't know why he went to school for what he did. It was like instrumentation.
I thought he went and took like 2 nursing
He
classes or
did.
something.
Yeah, he did. Because he didn't know what he wanted to
Yeah.
do either. He just, mom talked him in, like we talked about earlier. The people around you is kind of how you're going to turn out.
Yeah.
They just have always talked to us about, and maybe, parents always know what's better. So maybe they subconsciously knew, like AI and the way the world progresses, because they went through the age of the computer taking over things. But they wanted us to get into a career that you would always have a job. You're not going to get laid off. There's no technology at the time that's going to take the place. I guess through COVID, we found out that's called an essential worker. So they wanted us to be essential workers. So healthcare, obviously,
Right.
you're always going to have a job. People are always going to be sick. That mindset, I'm going to transition into what I wanted my first business to be, but I'll talk about that later on. Yeah, he took a couple medical classes, and he realized when he couldn't pronounce the words after a couple semesters that he's like, maybe I'll go to radiology. So then he started getting into
Watching
the
Grey's
radiology.
Anatomy is not the same as going to
It is
medical
not.
school.
So anyway, he transitioned into it's basically like motor controls and electrical stuff. It landed him a job at Encore. It's the big electric delivery company in Texas. The biggest. But in order to get the job, he had to move out to Comanche, out in West Texas. So when he did that, I went out there with him, lived with him, because me and him were like, two peas in a pod, best friends. Didn't really want to be without him, so moved out there with him. There was a technical college out there. I started going to school. It was pretty good. He kept me grounded because I'm wild, He's kind of more of a stay-at-home, simple kind of guy. And then I got my certificate, which means I was halfway done with the associate's degree, and I was doing really well, a lot better than I did in high school because I almost didn't graduate. I hated school. ADD. I don't like sitting in one spot, and I didn't see the point in learning half the shit we learned. I wish it was more about life. Guy called me up and was like, "Hey man, you wanna come to work on the pipeline?"
Dun, dun, dun.
And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, it's just kind of what we'll be doing. You'll be entry level, but it'll be fun. We get to travel, drink beer, hang out. It's basically like a party every day." I was like, "Fuck, sign me up. What kind of money am I gonna make?" He's like, "We could probably start out making $2,000 a week." I was like, done. So I think that next week we left, drove up to Pennsylvania, did the first pipeline job, and then it was kind of history from there. Progressed to being a welder. Did that for like 4 to 5 years, and I got laid off. I think it was like November of 2015.
Because the job ended.
Yeah. Well, anything in the oil field.
Yeah.
Ebbs and flows like anything else. You work for 6-8 months if you're lucky, and then you get laid off for a couple months. So got laid off, and my brother's like, "Man, why don't you just apply for Encore? You don't have to take it, but at least you'll know. We're having a big hiring thing going on right now." So I did, and I got hired on in May, and I accepted it. It was a big pay cut. I started out making like $40,000 a year, something like that. So,
But that was a big deal because it wasn't just you anymore at that point.
yeah, I had gotten married. I had my first kid. I believe he was 2 at the time. That was in 16. Yeah, he was born in 14.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was 2. So packed the shit up. I had to sell a bunch of stuff. I had the welding rig. I saved my welder for a while. I left it at my mom and dad's house, but I had to sell my truck. Started out living in the camper that we had on the pipeline just because it was the cheapest. Took a big pay cut, so I had to be frugal. Raising a kid in a camper is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right in like summer and spring because you can kind of, put your awning out, grill steaks, listen to music, drink some beer, let them run around and play. Winter months got hard because you're shoved into a box, basically. So sold the camper, moved into an apartment. So we upgraded it a little bit. And, that's the apartment I see in my mind is kind of where the marriage started getting rocky. Lots of traveling back and forth for her back to her hometown, and then we transitioned from the apartment to a smaller first-time house, and we just kind of going through the motions. I think we were just throwing darts at the wall, trying to figure out how to make it, how to make things not feel that way. I'm sure she felt it too. So we had another kid, like a lot of people do, thinking that's going to fix it. We moved into an even bigger house.
They call it marriage glue.
Yeah, with a higher mortgage, thinking a nicer home would fix it. It ended the way that things like that probably would. It just piling all that stuff on is not going to help. I think it makes problems worse, especially children. I don't know why people think children solve marriages, but it causes
people who say that don't have children.
Yeah, or they're grasping at straws. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of where that went. We got divorced, and I met you in the middle of all that.
But do you think that growing up and having parents that stayed together through the ups and downs, like you probably had it ingrained in your brain that like once you said I do, that was just
yeah, they're very old school.
That was it. And like you have to think your support system at the time, like your brother was married, had a kid of his own right around the same time you did. The people that you were going to, probably with your problems of like, I'm just not happy. These are the things that are going on. Like,
suck it the fuck up.
Right. The person, I mean, your mom and dad, the people that you looked up to and that obviously should be the people that you're going to, were telling you, like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
you made the commitment.
Right.
And I think for mom and dad, it was, you have kids, you have a job, you have a duty. I don't give a fuck what's going on. You're going to be their dad. You're going to be a good husband. You're going to figure it out, stick it out. They had a hard time with the divorce in the beginning because of that. I think that since then they've opened their eyes. And honestly, my previous wife had a hard time in the beginning. And I think since then, too, she's opened her eyes and seen that although it felt like a slap in the face or it felt like we failed, everybody's better off now. And I think everybody... I mean, now we have a really good ups and downs again, but at the moment we have a really good co-parenting relationship, the four of us, her husband and her and me and you. So yeah. I think we all see that the writing on the wall was there and we made the right decision. It's just, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So in the moment, like childhood heartbreak, it feels like the end of the world until you look back.
How honest are we going to be here?
We don't have to be. I mean, I don't want to hide anything. I was still married when me and you met. Mentally, I was checked out. Mentally, I had already started the process of the divorce. She didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know that. I think for me, I was kind of a chicken shit. I knew I was going to do it. I didn't want to, like we talked about earlier, I like to think things through. And I didn't want to go out into this new fucking crazy world of technology and online dating and all this stuff that I had no idea about blind. So,
because let's face it, like myself, you do better with a counterpart.
Yes.
You do better in a relationship. You basically have been in a relationship your entire life.
Like I said, it's kind of chicken shit of me the way I did it. I needed to see what was out there, and I'm sure that my ex-wife felt blindsided by it. But if you asked...
she did.
Well, in the moment.
Yeah.
But if you asked her today, I'm pretty confident that she would have seen the writing on the wall. And it's not like she was innocent. I knew she had been cheating. She didn't know I knew. And I didn't tell her till just recently that I knew. And I did try to stick it out for a really long time.
Well, I think it's important to mention, because it is a vital piece of why we are as strong as we are. We did not start in a traditional way. We are not going to sit on this soapbox and act like we're perfect. We owe a lot to your previous wife. We've come a long way from that situation. I would like to think that, we're in a place where she is, just as big in our story as we are in hers. I mean, we co-parent really, really well.
Y'all do.
Her and I do. I mean, there's a reason why you guys are not together. And sometimes when they talk to each other, it's very much like gasoline and fire.
Yeah.
Her and I have had so many, ebbs and flows and ups and downs, but I think we're finally at a place where we really do well together. I think we understand each other a lot more than we used to. I respect her, she respects me. She's remarried, and she has stepkids of her own, and I think now we can kind of relate to each other in a sense of being a stepmom, where as before that was a little harder to
Yeah.
understand with each other. Um, but it's worth mentioning because in the early years of our relationship, even before we got married, we we blew it up. I mean, we blew up the world around us, and we knew going into our relationship that, I mean, the first time we met each other on our first date, like it really was one of those like movie moments. I mean, I had never felt anything like it. I had been in, a previous relationship where I thought for sure that was the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with, but it doesn't hold a candle to the way that I felt even in our first conversation with each other.
Yeah, I think that as cliche as you would say it is, and people would say it is, you think like you think you're in a good spot, or you think and you're in the relationship that you should be in. If you don't know, and this is how it's hard because you don't know until you know, but I've thought this several times, and I know you have, but when you really know, like if you ask your parents, the ones that's been together, or grandparents, or whoever it was, that what's the secret, you know what I mean? And they're always like, well, when you know, you
Yeah.
know, that is without a doubt, that's probably the most truest thing that I've ever been able to be a part of, because you really do only know when you know.
I think for me, it's when you think about it's so easy to talk about the good times and, oh, we're so in love, and oh, things are so great and we're so similar, and this, that, and the other. But to me, it's the moments that it doesn't look like that. And if the window is never open to end things, like in your hardest of moments, in our biggest of fights, there's never been a moment where it's like, I cannot do this anymore. I
Yeah,
want
like
to
I
leave.
want a divorce,
I
or I
want to
want to
leave.
be with, I don't want to be with her.
It's
That's not a
never
thought.
felt like that. And I feel like in previous relationships, at least for me, and I know for you too,
100%.
that was always the thought. Like,
Yep.
fuck this. I don't need this. I don't, you know,
Yep.
the, the happy times and the love and the respect for you outweighs the hard times. And for me, that's never been the case. It's always been, how can I get out of this situation? I don't want to deal with this. And I think too, it's coming to the realization that when you're with the person that you're supposed to be in, you have this like sense of maturity that kind of washes over you. And it's more so this feeling of like, it's no longer me, 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 and then I just have this person next to me that it just is there to make the good times great and is there to pat me on the back when things
Right.
aren't so great. You don't think as an individual anymore when you're with the person you're supposed to be with. It's like that mindset doesn't even exist anymore.
It changes who you are.
And
It's like being a parent.
right. It really is like being a parent.
Yeah.
It's that when you
You'll
have a child,
you'll put them over fucking anything.
right, and when you're with the person you're supposed to be with, that feeling overtakes you. And I never had that before. I
Me neither.
have always in my relationships, I felt like given more than I was given. So I always did have that like, what can I do to make my partner happy mindset, but it was never to the extent of like, I want to build this life together. I want it to be great. It was always like, it needs to be perfect 24/7 because we can't withstand the hard times. With you and me, like, I welcome difficulty. We even put ourselves in uncomfortable situations sometimes. I mean, shit, we're living with my parents right now
Yep.
because we're transitioning from moving out of where we were living for the last 5 years. We're starting a whole new chapter of our lives, and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I
It's
mean, we went from a
cramped.
3,000 square foot home to now we're living,
In the upstairs.
in the upstairs, but we're doing it for the betterment of our future. We grow so much in
In the hard shit.
in the hard shit.
Yep.
Like, I don't even feel like our relationship is in its prime when we're living in the peaks. It's
Well,
the pits that really.
we get too comfortable, and I don't think me and you are wired that way to be on cruise control. I think
Well, we aren't.
I think that when we have the 3 weekends a year that we don't have shit that we're doing, I think that we're on cruise control, and we're like, crawling out of our
what are we gonna
skin trying
do?
to figure out what the fuck
I
we're
mean,
going
we
to do.
just had this conversation the other day of like, it just feels like there's always something, and it just feels like it can never just be easy. We do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
When you really sit and think about it, like we sold our home because we wanted to be on land, and we moved into a rental because we weren't ready to buy yet because we couldn't find what we wanted. We did that. We decided to push ourselves in that situation.
Yep.
Then we didn't want to be in the rental because we felt like we were throwing money away. It wasn't what we thought it was going to be.
And it took 4 fucking hours to mow.
It was just, we were too busy to have the property that we had, and something about living where we were living just didn't feel right. So we were like, let's move back in with my parents and save a bunch of money.
And figure it out.
We did that. We buy the businesses.
Yep.
We start the ventures. We put ourselves in the situations that we're in. And it's just laughable sometimes to like think about the moments where we're like, oh my God, this is awful. Like, when is life ever going to not be like this? Bitch,
it's always
you did it. Like, it's
always
your fault.
Yep.
But it's there. But that
we're
is,
humans.
But
we gotta
that
have
is
something to bitch
why
about.
we get the phone calls from our parents and our
Yeah.
grandparents and our friends saying, damn, guys,
Yeah.
like, you are the people that don't just talk about it. You do it.
Yeah. Whether it turns out to be good or bad.
Right.
If we didn't, I don't think I could stand not knowing. And I tell the guys this at work all the time. And I'm sure that, I mean, for me, like, as business owners or a boss or an owner, I'm sure the guys that I work with that are above me, the bosses and managers, probably don't like this type of attitude. But when we're out in the field and I see guys, and I've been there because I notice it. I've been there because I was one of those guys. When I see that they're not really interested in what we're doing, you can just see that they're checked out and they're kind of glazed over, just going through the motions. I always sit down and have a conversation with them. Like, dude, you don't have to fucking be here. You know, like, you ain't married. You don't have any kids. What do you think the regret's going to be higher with? You sitting here until you're fucking 50 and you're digging holes and doing the same shit, beating your body up that you're doing today when you're 50, and looking back thinking, fuck, what if I'd have just took that leap
Just did it
and tried to do something for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think it would be different, or the regret would be higher or lower if you went and did it right now and you left on good terms? You've already made a good name for yourself. And you went and started something and you fucking failed.
Yeah.
But at least you know you gave it everything you got, and that, hey, entrepreneurship isn't for me. Maybe I do need to be working for somebody. But that fucking not knowing keeps me up at night. There's no way that I could go through life and not know. I encourage everybody at work to do that. And, you know, a lot of them don't take action. You know, they're scared. Where we work pays us really good. They don't pay you enough to be rich, but they pay you just enough to not leave.
Yeah.
So they kind of have you by the balls. So it takes like a lot of guts to leave.
Well, I am an entrepreneur now. Like, literally, that's what I am. I don't have a full-time job.
You work for...
I work for our companies and for ourselves, and it is not for the faint of heart.
It ain't fucking easy, I can tell you that.
It is the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my entire life. It is, you talk about me wanting instant gratification. There's nobody there to pat me on the back. There's nobody there to call me into their office and have a performance review and tell me how great I'm doing or how, you know, it's me and you and our employees. And there is no off time. There is
7 days a week, every holiday, every weekend. I don't give, you're having a bad fucking day?
Right.
Tough shit.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was out with my mom every other Friday. We'd kind of just take the day and
try to go do some girl stuff.
Just be together because she only lives here part-time. And, I mean, my phone was blowing up. It was just a bad business day. I mean, that's the only way that I can explain it. It was when it rained, it poured, and it was a monsoon that day. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And I remember that evening she just looked at me and she was like, I could not do it. I could not. She's like, I could just see it all over your face. But I also remember telling you, as much as today sucked, it felt so good to solve the problems. And it felt so good to be the one that people were coming to solve the problems.
I tell people at work, they're like, man, I wish I could be a fucking owner. I go play golf every day and fucking... I said, dude, being an owner, you're the fucking CEO and the janitor. And you're everything in between. Mm-hmm. You're cleaning the shit up. and you're making the decisions. And when you make the wrong one, you're cleaning your own shit up.
Right.
So
So when we were very freshly married, or really even early in our relationship, we knew that being together all the time was something that we wanted. We both knew that, like, yes, we had these very separate careers. I was a boss. You were a boss in your own sense of the way, me as
yeah,
well. I mean, we were making very good money. We were supporting our kids. We were living the lifestyle that we, at the time, were not willing to not be living. We ate out when we wanted to. We went on vacations when we want. I mean, at the drop of a hat, we would go on, a $600 weekend just
yeah.
just to go do it.
We could do whatever we wanted to do, basically,
And
within reason.
but we knew that there was like this fire in both of us that we needed to do something for ourselves. For me, I don't think that feeling started until I left the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And I left the Rangers because once we were together, I mean, we had the boys, and it wasn't feasible. Like, I was commuting an hour and a half every day.
Drive, yeah.
I
Traffic.
needed to leave. And I think early on in the job that I took to work from home, I realized that, like, what I had before at the Rangers, I was never going to have again. The way I was respected, the people that I worked with. And so I was working a job that I had absolutely no passion for. I was miserable. I was working 2 full-time jobs, actually.
I remember. You fucking cried yourself to sanity in the closet one day. Because I just can't do this
couldn't
anymore.
do it anymore. And I think we were married by this point.
Mm-hmm. Courthouse married.
Courthouse married. We had not had a wedding yet, but we came up, if you don't want to do this for somebody else, why don't we go into business for ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
So our first, glimmer, spark of being business owners, we opened a recruiting firm.
Yep, for like sports teams only, front office sports recruiting, C-level or higher.
I wanted to get back to what I was doing. I just wanted to do it for myself.
Yeah.
But life had other plans. God had other plans.
And everything happens for a reason.
We decided we were going to have a baby right around the same time. I very much wanted to be the one that was like, I will get through the pregnancy. I will get through the newborn stage. I'll be the successful business owner. Just to show you, like, how ass backwards my mindset was with that. Like, we were coaching baseball as well at the time together. I fully anticipated on being the first base coach with our daughter, like, strapped to my body.
I remember that.
Like, that was how I thought motherhood was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I will do it all. We will own the business. I'll keep my full-time job just to have money flowing. We're going to have this baby. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to skip a beat.
I'm a badass.
I mean, I could not have been further from
bed
from
rest,
reality.
Can't move, horrible pregnancy, postpartum,
all of the things.
Every bad fucking thing that could happen in pregnancy, you got.
Yeah. So I think the business failed because I could not give it anything. I couldn't even. I mean, I could walk from the couch to the bed and to the bathroom for the first 6 months of my pregnancy. So I was not able to give 100% to anything in my life, and starting a business, I mean, I was essentially, it's like having another baby. Mm-hmm. It is your baby.
Yeah.
So here I am, like, growing this baby
while trying to start up another baby.
Like, all of it, you know, it was just too much. So it failed, and we didn't see a penny from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we spent a lot of money investing into it.
But we learned a lot.
There was a lot of, I think, frustration in our marriage at the time because it was hard to make you understand. Like, I think in your eyes, it was like, well, she's just literally sitting on the couch. Like, she can't do anything else. So why isn't this business?
My education on mental health hadn't got to where it is today at that point. So I was a little ignorant to the fact of, I didn't know where your headspace was.
Right.
So obviously, with the help of you and everything else, I've grown in that aspect. It just takes other people to kind of open your eyes sometimes.
We had not reached this, like, co-founder level of our marriage yet. It was just more so like, you were working full-time. I was working full-time, trying to do this business because you had no knowledge on the subject of recruiting. It was really me. I was the main caretaker for the children, even our boys, and I was on bed rest. So it was, I don't think that we had fully grasped at that point in time, like, we just had this reality, this dream of, like, not reality, this dream of, we're just going to open a business and it's going to go great, and we're going to get along all the time,
And
and
we can all quit our
we're going to
jobs
quit
and
our
we're spend every day
jobs, and we're going
together.
to spend every day together. We're going to get up and have brunch, and then we'll make a couple calls. And
That'll be it.
I don't know where we were getting our inspiration from at that point in time, because we were
Again, La La
literally
Land.
like creating tracks that had never been created before,
Yep.
and expecting the train to just run on them.
Yep.
So I think at the time we put the business bug to bed for a second.
We did. Focus on ourselves, our new
I had
family.
Waylon, our daughter, at that point. The freaking baseball team was taking so much of our time, which looking back on it, like,
I'm sure if anybody in select sports knows, we were playing 105 games per year.
and we were good.
Oh, yeah.
We had a lot of pride in it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably too much pride for freaking little league sports, but
It was not Little League.
well,
We were number 2 in the state.
number 3, but it's little league because they're 11,
Okay.
9, 10, 11 years old. So, I just say little
So
league.
Waylon is, let's go back. Waylon is 6 months, not even 6 months, maybe 3 months at the time. Let's see. October, November. 4 months. She's
Yeah.
4 months old. And you called me and you said, there's a pool route for sale. I really want to buy it. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just the tone in your voice, if it was how confident I was in you at the time to do this. You were like, we have the money to not finance it. Like, I want to do this. And I just said, okay.
Yeah. For people listening, I think that's very important. Without her support, I don't think that pool route would have ever been bought. And I think that's why it's very important to pick your partner. Because if you find somebody that's going to bring you down, if you're trying to like spread your wings and sell a little bit and not support you and not trust that you're going to make good decisions, you're never going to really get to where you need to go.
I literally said to him that day, I'm tired of hearing you talk about dreams. I'm tired of hearing about things that you want to do. Shit or get off the pot.
Yep.
Call the guy right now
Tell them we're in.
and let's finalize the sale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am I just want things in the moment.
Instant
And
gratification.
I was so tired of listening to the back and forth. I mean, I often say that, like, you give me whiplash because you
Of
come
my
up with these like
decision-makings.
grand ideas and then you don't want to do them. And
You just want to do it.
I just wanted to do it. And
Yeah.
and I think that I had just had enough, and I wanted us to just nut up and
Do it.
do it. So we did. We finalized the sale. It's called Citizen Swim.
Mm-hmm.
It's very successful. We're going to give Citizen its day in the sun. We're going to have an entire, episode dedicated to that. But I think Citizen is what changed our marriage. It's what changed our lives. And I'm not talking about financially, because it's, we don't live in a mansion. We don't drive G-Wagons. It's not, but it completely changed our mindset.
Yes, I like to think of Citizen Swim as successful in a sense of it is really rounding our edges and smoothing everything out for the businesses to come, because we're making all of our mistakes and we're learning everything we need to learn in this business, and we're getting it ironed out. Is it the most income producing asset that we'll ever have? Absolutely not. Is it the highest grossing pool company in DFW? Absolutely not. But from where we started to where we are now, and the lessons that we've been able to learn within the business from the mistakes we've made and where we move on, I consider myself rich with business, because I have learned it with knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned so much. I think so much more than what a school would teach you, because the only way to really do it is to get out there and do it and fail. I think right now we're about to hit a season of growth that is going to scare the shit out of us, because we're really going to dial in the processes and everything that makes it to where we can duplicate.
Yeah.
Right now, well, I say right now, in the past months, I would say 6 to 8 months, we hit a growth that, like anything else, there's growing pains.
Yeah.
So I think we're just at the very end of that pain, and we're about to see the benefits of the growth.
In my world of system implementation and change management and all the things, anytime you do something that is going to have massive effect. Okay, so when you implement a brand new system into a company, you get a version of it called your sandbox version. And it's where you get to go in and make changes and do all these things so that then you can go replicate it in the real life version. Citizen is our sandbox business. We are learning everything there is to learn about owning a business in Citizen. We're learning about staffing. We learned the toughest lesson of them all, that you don't go into business with your friends. We learned that through Citizen. We've learned so much about our marriage as co-owners of a business through Citizen. We're learning about marketing and billing and accounting and all of these things. Citizen is going to be what we look back on 4 or 5 businesses down the road and think,
Thank you.
thank you for teaching us everything we needed to know about being business owners and navigating marriage and raising children through business. Because we're able to, the pool company is a model that recovers quickly when things go wrong. I mean, there's been many things that have gone wrong and we've recovered quickly. So it is the entity that I am comfortable playing with a little bit more than I would other ventures that we have our hands in right now. I stopped working a full-time job and dove into marketing more than I've ever done that before, and completely created something as far as a presence online that we never had before. I would not have felt comfortable doing that with a company that's bringing in $1 million. I only felt comfortable doing that because it's big, but it's small enough to play around with a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, you can recover. Not that we've had this happen, but let's just say you lose half your revenue in a month because the economy went to shit. People's like, I'm not paying for that or whatever. The economy makes a rebound. You go out and door knock for a couple weeks, 8-10 hours a day, and you've recouped all of that money.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of boots on the ground, hard work to do it, and you can really grow as fast as you want to grow. You can't grow too fast because you can't staff it.
I want to learn the most from Citizen. I want to cry the tears for Citizen. I want it so that when this is copied and pasted, it's bulletproof.
Yeah.
And we have learned a lot. We've also grown a lot. I mean, our little baby $22,000 company is now pushing $500,000, and it's because everything that we're learning, we're just building from.
Yeah.
And not only in the business, but we own this together. If you and I were not on the same page and we did not, it would not work.
No, and we butt heads
all the time.
I think that's important. Like, we're not perfect. We don't have all the answers. We definitely butt heads. I think that's in any relationship, in life, in business, you're gonna butt heads and you're gonna disagree, and I think that's important because you're not gonna get anybody else's point of view if you don't.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just a yes man and you're like, yes sir, that's just what we're gonna do, and I'm like, yes ma'am, that's what you want, that's what we're gonna do, and we always only do what you want, or we always only do what I want, and we don't ever incorporate both of our ideas, it kind of keeps us too grounded and allows us to kind of make that next step, which for me, I feel like is going to be really good for Labor to Legacy because of the umbrella that we start putting different pieces of like the blue collar trades and stuff into, and it's not just the pool. It's very diversified, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, without Citizen and without this first successful business, Labor to Legacy would never have even it wouldn't have even been an idea, because it started because we were going out pitching our company. We were pitching Citizen to commercial clients. And we left, it was like a 2-hour walkthrough almost that we were with this one woman. And it dawned on both of us that she really could not have given 2 fucks about the services that we were providing.
Or what the name of the company was.
None of it. It was our banter with her. It was our story, the fact that we were husband and wife business owners and we had these kids that we were trying to, leave a legacy for. Mentioned many, many times that like Citizen is not the only legacy we're going to leave. Like, we want to build an empire for these kids, not necessarily so that they have a nest egg to just step into and have a job, but more so to show them what work actually means and going and getting it for yourself. And I think from that conversation created this brand of
Yeah, it really, honestly, that was kind of the birth of it.
it was. It let's take who we are and the lessons that we've learned and continue to learn in our marriage and in our life and build on that, because I can promise you we're not the only people that own businesses together. We're not the only people who are raising kids the old school way. I mean, there I want to give people something to look up to that is like, yes, finally, like that is what I'm doing.
It's okay.
Like I want,
Yeah.
that's damn, we actually share the mindset.
Leave a sense of how to fucking work, how to be, what your name means, what your word means. But if you instill these things in them at a young age, it's only going to set them up for success.
Yeah.
And they're going to have any job that they want to, that they put their mind to. And I think it's important to not quit. All these kids today they go do something, and as soon as it gets hard, they quit. If we did that, we wouldn't be married. If we did that, we wouldn't have a business. We wouldn't have Waylon. You can't fucking quit. And you fight for what you have. I've learned that in business and in relationship and kind of how they're married together. There was a time that, because of previous baggage in relationships, that I didn't stand up for you. And I kind of just sat back in the corner. And I've done that in previous jobs, and I've done that in business, and it's gotten me nowhere. So you got to fight. You can't quit when shit gets hard. You got to keep pushing forward.
Yeah. I mean, in all of our trials and tribulations and becoming parents together, being a married couple, and then diving into businesses that we own together. I mean, this is just the beginning. We're going to have our hands in all of the trades eventually that are all going to come up under the Labor to Legacy name.
Yep.
I mean, we're launching merchandise, we're launching coaching sessions, we're everything. And I think it all started because I felt like I was in a very unique position of being a business owner, being the wife of a blue collar worker, being a mother. I didn't feel like I had anybody to turn to for advice in the hard times.
Yeah.
And so I created the mindset on my own. I was going to, and so I know that if I feel that way, so many other women feel that way.
Yeah.
Or husbands. I mean, so this is where you go to learn how to deal with the ebbs and flows of not only being a wife or a husband, not only being a mother or a father, but when all of that comes together and owning businesses and trying to be different than everybody else around you when it comes to your passions, when it comes to living the way, walking by faith, living as a patriot, not giving in to the times. I am here, at least for me, I am here to be the one that people can come to. Like, I'm going through this and I'm so confused. I feel like I am like the black sheep.
Mm-hmm. I want people to watch this and be able to talk to us and have their inputs on how to grow their relationships. And we're talking all relationships, business, W-2 employee working for somebody, marriage, especially marriage, because I think that's what allows our businesses to do what they're doing, because we are so strong. How to grow their marriage from divorce to eternity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And how the things in between those, like how to avoid them. Because there is little things people can say that derails an entire marriage just by one word.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm ready to dig into it and got a lot to say.
This is the beginning of what is going to be our legacy. No pun intended. But we are more than our businesses. There is so much that happens behind the scenes, and this is that story.
Yep. So we'll get comments from people, and anybody's got any questions, we'll answer them. We'll talk about them.
Yep. Follow Labor to Legacy on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Labor to Legacy. Find us at labortolegacy.com. We want to hear from you. We want to hear about your journey. If you're like us or if you're not like us and you want to throw some controversial hate our way, go for it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yep. We're all about it.
Cheers, babe.
Until next time.